What's going on YouTube? Man, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. I'm going to tell you how the streets fuck you up all the way around, homie. For real. And excuse my language, man. They say I can't be cursing and stuff like that on YouTube, so I'm going to try not to do my best not to curse so much. But I'm just going to give you an example of how the streets just damage everything, right? Especially that crack era, that cocaine era. I had a homie that I grew up with. Real tight, man. And his name is Tiger. We used to call him Tiger on the street, right? So me and Tiger grew up on the same block. He maybe stayed like 3-4 houses down from me. And you know, we grew up and we ended up getting in the game about the same time. I believe I kind of introduced Tiger to selling crack, or he had done start selling it on his own too, some type of way. I think he ended up getting some drugs from the guy who stayed next door to him. The guy who stayed next door to Tiger was already selling. He was an older guy. He was already in the dope game. We didn't know. We was kids. But his son had stole about a quarter brick of cocaine from his daddy and sold it to Tiger. And that's how I think Tiger had got him some cheese like that. Now nobody don't know about that story, but that shit really happened. The guy's son next door broke into his daddy's room, did something, and stole a quarter key, or 1, 2, 5 and a half, some shit like that, or some coke, and gave it over to Tiger. But the thing about it, my partner ended up start using cocaine. And this when I say this shit is designed for us to be fucked up. And this when I'm saying that you get on drugs at an early age, how it fucks with your mind. Now this my homie now. I mean, we like this. So we're growing up, we both in the game, selling drugs, you know, doing our little thing, you know, elevating up through the ranks of the streets. You know, we started out when we were about 12 or 13. This is when we started. And I was at my peak, and I was about 23. So you got to realize I done put 10 years of work in the streets before I get to my peak. And this was my peak. This when I had my Miami connections. I had the Colombians got them bring me that work like clockwork. I mean, for real, you got to think about I'm 23 and I got a Miami plug, Colombian from the Medellin cartel. And we got a game room on 40th Street. I mean, it's slamming out there. I mean, we doing numbers at this point. But it was before that, before I got to my peak, because at this point now, me and my homie who like this, we ain't so close no more. He's still my homie. But the things that he involved in, I can't be involved in because I have so much responsibility. See, once you have a plug and you establish yourself, you know, as a loyal individual to a plug, man, y'all like family now. That means that my actions out here on the street gonna dictate what we able to do. So if I'm out here causing a lot of trouble, I'm making them hot and I'm making myself hot. You see, so I got to stay low key as possible so I can keep my plug protected, I can keep myself protected, and I can keep, you know, the operation moving. So, but before I got there, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Before I got to that point, you know, we still doing that thing. You know, I'm grinding up. I'm probably getting by a brick or something about that time. You know, I'm getting by the brick. I got a couple of connects. I'm getting it from a couple of Colombians over here in the city. I'm buying a brick here, buying a brick there. And we go see a movie one night. It was me, him, and my other homie, Leroy. Right? Yeah, what's up, Leroy? So we go to the movie one night. And we go see this movie called Marked for Death. If y'all haven't seen this movie, it's a Jamaican guy in that movie called Screwface. And around about this time, this when we started growing our dreads. See, we were the first crew in Tampa to start rocking dreads. Yeah, once upon a time I had long ass wicks and shit. You know, we the first ones brought that shit to the city. For real. And everybody know they could stamp that shit, man. We were the first ones wearing them wigs. This in the early 90s, man. Early 90s, man. Niggas was still wearing, you know, waves and other little shit and braids and shit, man. We said we gonna wick this shit up, man. So that made that stood out from everybody else. But anyway, we went to go see this movie called Marked for Death, right? And in this movie, it's a good ass movie. And for some reason, my partner Tiger, he got infatuated with the character Screwface. Screwface was a Jamaican who didn't give a fuck about the police. He always say, man, The white boy Hatchild, me killed the white boy Hatchild. He started talking dread and everything. And the dread had blue contacts in his eyes. Now, anybody seen the mark for death, you can go check. The dread name was Screwface in the movie, and he had blue contacts. So my partner, at this time, he done started putting contacts in his eyes, and at this time, he had to develop a habit for cocaine. So he's like snorting cocaine. You got to realize he ain't number 19 years old at this time. 19, 20, maybe. 19, 20 years old, heavily got cocaine available all the time, and it became a real large habit for him. You know, that's what separated us. I couldn't be involved around that type of activity with the responsibility I got going on. I can't be addicted to no drugs that's going to have you doing shit that's you're not in your right state of mind, because I done grew up in that era. Most guys that was on cocaine back in the days, most of them was the robbers. Yeah, most of the guys that snorted cocaine heavy was the robbers. Them were the jack boys, most of them. Not all of them, most of them. Them were the jack boys. They just like to snort powder, and during the day them niggas sleep. And at night they come up, they want to goddamn get some money so they can go get high, and they're looking for niggas on the block. That's how they used to roll down here. It wasn't all that shit. That's how niggas, that was the only opposition you had in the streets. The niggas who trying to rob you for your package. That's it. It wasn't no other ops out here in the streets, man. It was only a nigga who was trying to take your package or something like that you had an issue with. Most likely. Or less about that pussy, you know. Oh, my bad. I don't mean to use that language, but you know what it is. But anyway, so after that movie, my partner kind of got strung out on that cocaine, and every time I see him, he got AKs in the cars and big ass pistols and shit, and he got dope in the car. And I'm saying to myself, I always say, man, homie, man, you can't be moving like that, man. You got this and this and this. I'm trying to still coach him. I'm a homie. I don't want to see you crash out, homie. If you crash out, don't crash out like that. That's what I be trying to say, my homies. I be trying to guide them, man. Don't do that. You need to do this a different way. But when a nigga got some money and a nigga got a little power, you can't really tell him what he can and cannot do, you know? But you as a homie, you're supposed to try and stop your homie from crashing out if you see him from the crash out. And I did my best to try and warn him, hey, man, you need to do things a little bit different. But that cocaine got him at this point. You know, that cocaine got him, like, fucked up. I can't really communicate with him like I want to, you know? But we still cool. But I remember one night I was at my studio. I had a studio up there on 40th Street. I was at my studio, and then somebody said, hey, man, there's a car that shot down 40th Street, and about 20 police officers coming behind him. I said, yeah. And then they said, yeah, man, they said it was some Jamaicans that had a shootout with the police. I said, Jamaicans had a shootout with the police? So I'm like, damn, what the fuck going on? So now I leave the studio because I'm getting kind of curious. They said the shit happened over there by my people's house. So I said, well, damn, who the fuck would be in Jamaicans shoot out with the police and bring them to the hood? So I get out, I drive. And as I drive, I'm getting closer and closer to the location where we grew up at. And I'm like, damn. And they tell me what's going on. They got the whole streets locked off. Now, you can Google this shit. This was the year that 2 police officers got shot in Tampa and they got hit with an SKS assault rifle. President Clinton, I think, came down here to visit these people during that time. It was during his campaign. I want to say Clinton was in office, if I'm not mistaken. I think he the president that came down here to visit these police officers that got shot in Tampa with an SKS assault rifle. Now, when I come in the neighborhood, they got the whole fucking neighborhood blocked off. Cars. They got every law enforcement agency out working tonight. They got sheriffs. They got tactical squads. They got state troopers. They got TPD. They got everybody out tonight looking for these individuals. And I don't know who it is. But everything is telling me that it may be my homie that me and him grew up with, just like this right here. This is what it's telling me. It may be him, man. Because I've been hearing him talk, hearing him and seeing the people that he's been around, and the people that he's around don't have his best interests. I have his best interests. I know his people. I know his family. I don't want to see him crash out. But once again, once a dude gets some money, you know, and he got a little power, it's hard to control him at that point. You feel what I'm saying? I know y'all feel what I'm saying. So anyway, come to find out, it was him, his little brother, and their cousin. Apparently, from what I done got information of, they was driving and their cousin asked them to pull over to a fast food restaurant. Say he had to use the bathroom, he wanted to get him something to eat, something like that. Well, when they pull over, apparently the cousin goes inside the fast food restaurant, robs the place, then come back and say, okay, let's go, get in the car. So they leave. Well, when they leave, they get a call that it's a robbery just been taking place. So now they fit the description of the car that was in the robbery. So apparently the police officers get behind him and try and pull him over. Well, he the type of guy ain't gonna stop when the police get behind him. His license probably bad. He probably got cocaine in the car. He got about 5 or 6 guns in the car, assault rifle, and everybody in the car dirty. Everybody in the car dirty. So he's not finna stop. So apparently they went on the high speed. And as a matter of fact, he wasn't driving. It was his little brother that was doing the driving. So that was on it. The little brother did the driving. He was in the passenger seat. So apparently they got on the high speed chase. And they brought them all to the neighborhood. And they crashed at the end of the road. And when they crashed at the end of the road, that's when all the commotion went down. That's when the assault rifle went shooting. That's when the police went to shooting. Everybody went to shooting at that point. A lot of people were shooting at that point. That's the story that I got from all the information I done collected over the years. But the cousin hopped out the car and basically surrendered. When they crashed, he hopped out the car and just ran to the police and surrendered. The little brother actually got away, and he was actually home, sleep in the bed. But the cousin had already told him where he stay at, so they went to this house to go get him out of the bed. He actually had made it to the house. It was in the bed, sleep. But like I say, the cousin told him where he was at, and they went down there and got him out of the bed. And then my partner, Tiger, they didn't find him till the next morning. They found him the next morning inside of a friend of mine's house at the time in their garage. And they pulled him out. You can Google this. It's like year 1994, Tampa, Florida. 2 police officers got shot with an SKS assault rifle. You can Google the story to check the facts. That was my partner. I mean, we like this. And I was so hurt to see him leave the streets that way, because that's not him. You see, I understand that he was affected by the drugs that he was using. He wasn't in his right mind. That ain't even his character to be that aggressive. This is what I'm saying. I know this. That ain't even his character to be that aggressive, to be that type of person. But it was the drugs, it was the environment, it was the influence of that one movie that changed his life. That one movie got into his head, and with him using cocaine, he's not there. And that's why he's in prison right now with 7 life sentences. 7 life sentences right now. Facts. You can Google him. His name is Antonio Neal. You can Google them facts. Antonio Neal. Look at his release date. Now, we all believe that Antonio Neal should not be in prison for the rest of his life. For one, now one of the officers died. And he didn't have a bad record. I really believe that Antonio Neal should have got no more than about 25 years in prison for what he did. But they gave him 7 life sentences. They gave him 7 life sentences. Now, what he did, I can't say if he did it or not, but I'm saying what he's been charged with and what they found him guilty of, he still shouldn't have got no more than 25 years, maybe 30 years in prison for that charge. He shouldn't have 7 life sentences, because you mean to tell me a 20-year-old who was on cocaine, heavily on cocaine, in a bad environment, and had been influenced the wrong way, deserved to get no other chance in life? I don't think that's fair. I really don't. You know? So that's why it's important, man, that if you have a homeboy or somebody you care about and you out here in the streets, man, y'all constantly talk to one another to try and exit this shit. Because this shit is set up for us to lose. It's set up for us to lose, not to win. You know? Remember that. The game is set up for us to lose, not to win. And right now today, he's still stuck with those same life sentences. But I'm telling you guys, it has to be another way. He shouldn't be in there for the rest of his life. 30 years. Give him 30 years. And I guarantee you he learned this lesson. I guarantee you he won't be involved in no more drugs or anything like that had him out of his mind. Because a lot of drugs take you out of your mind and you leave reality. Until them people put them handcuffs on you and lock your ass down, then reality kick in. So I'm just doing my best, man, to share this information with y'all, man, and keep you guys on point, man. Remember, the streets is set up for us to lose, not to win. Make it happen or you captain. And also, man, look at here. If you got a family member or a loved one in prison, man, don't hesitate to send them a copy of Street Elements magazine. The #1 magazine publication in the nation, hands down. We got them babies on there. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, you send your people a copy of Street Elements magazine. You see? You got anybody that's in prison, I got some good information. You got to show them babies, you know. But I got some good information in here. We got a little something on real estate right there. You know, a little bit more entertainment. You know, we got a lot of good information in here, man, to keep. We got our 3 tips how to stay out of prison. That's what I'm pushing. 3 tips how to stay out of prison. That's what I'm pushing out here, man. 3 tips how to stay out of prison. So when I go back into the prison system, I give these guys this right here, man. How we gonna stay out of prison? We got to stay out of that motherfucker, man, for real. Make it happen or you capping.